Hello, changemakers, and welcome back to another amazing interview. We get so excited about celebrating people who are creating positive change on the planet. And today we've been doing things all over North Carolina. So I'm excited. I'm not even sure where you are, Sharon, but I know you came from the same group that's come out of North Carolina. So welcome to Unity for Wellness and Peace. And please tell everybody who you are, what you do, and what makes you so amazing.
Well, thank you, Sheehan. And although I am not born and raised in North Carolina, my roots do come from North Carolina. So my mom's side of the family is from North Carolina. My dad's side is from South Carolina. So I do have roots down there. But I actually born and raised in Washington, D.C. and live in that area all my life. So I'm right here in the Washington, D.C. area. And I am a coach, certified through International Coaching Federation at the ACC level, which is the Associate Certified Coaching level. And really, like what I do is I'm passionate about being a coach. I love helping people. I mean, I have always been that way growing up, always been in service. Grew up in the church, various organizations of service, and continue that all the way through adulthood into my career. And now outside of my career, continuing that with helping people through learning and development as well. So I love sharing information, connecting with people just like you and I have, and being able to just empower people to do
Mm.
things that they probably never thought that they could do or move in a direction, changing their mindset, which transforms their lives, and just being able to help people. So I love that. Love it.
I love that word empower because, I truly believe that the Creator gave us far more ability to create change in our lives than most of us realize. So I'm glad you're out here helping people to understand and realize a lot more about that. So I'm curious. I mean, they life coaching can take on a lot of different forms. Is there any specific niche that you like to work in?
Well, although I have coached people in many areas of their life, specifically, I do benefits, retirement, and financial coaching. And
Okay.
so I'm glad you brought this up because the reason I got into that area is one, that was the area of expertise I had in my career. And so each time I would meet with someone to talk about their benefits of retirement, it was always a very unique experience, unique to them. And I tried to make sure that I did not give generalizations too much. I would sit down and hear what they were going through, what they were saying, that what they're doing for their life, and then make sure that they understood their benefits, their retirement specific for them and what would apply to them. In addition, my own experience. So finances was not my best forte growing up. I just, never really was accountable when growing up with money. And that went into adulthood. I was a single parent for several years. So just making sure that my children had what they needed. That was my mindset. And it
Mm.
wasn't making sure that I was establishing good management habits for my children, for them to see, or for me to carry on into the next level of my life. I figured that I was just going to always work and always just be there. But then one day I was at one of my friend's house, and she had on her wall, um, the next 50 years, I'm going to do this, right? And so we were almost 50 at that time. And I was like, wow, I never thought about the next 50 years. I never thought that, you don't think that you would live another 50 years after almost reaching 50. So it just made me think, God gave me this much time. What could I do with an additional another 50 years? And so that is when I really started changing my mindset, started the better financial habits, starting little. And I also went to some classes. I took some classes under Dave Ramsey and was like, never wanted credit cards again, never. But then what I learned is, what I learned is, I just have to be a good steward over those credit cards. They don't manage me. I manage them. And that way, that's where I started with and just started building, building, building until I'm not where I could be, but I'm where I need to be. And that's when
Mm.
I'm able to share and help people to, look at their finances differently and be able to say, hey, it's not all doom and gloom. And even if you are where you want to be financially, like how can you manage it a little bit better, a little bit differently, think outside the box.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, that definitely sounds like valuable services to provide to people. And I love that. That must have been kind of a shock to your system to all of a sudden go, oh my God, another 50 years. What am I going to do with that?
Exactly. Yes, yes. I never thought of it before. And um and just the impact, that it had on me at the time of just reading it, where, anybody else would have just looked at it, but I was like, yeah, I have as much time as God gives me. And then what am I going to do with that to help myself, to help others?
Wow. Wow. Kind of like a direct message came right to you, huh?
It was. It was definitely that. It was
Oh
definitely
my
that.
goodness. Well, I know that you need to protect your people's anonymity, but do you have any interesting stories that you can share about any wonderful success where you've helped somebody?
Oh, yes. So one of the things that I have done is not just with adults, but I've done with children as well. So I've had like boot camps
Ah,
and things of that nature. So I had one a few years ago, and the young man, he was pretty savvy, with his finances. His parents had told him about investing in stocks and things of that nature. And his mom was like, after my class, really said she saw an uptick on how he's doing things. And so I was really impressed because he was like one of the star people in the class, but it really like opened it up more for him, and he was able to just be able to move further and do things. And now he's in college and just doing wonderful things. So that is one of my great success stories. And in addition to that, I have where I was talking to a recent client, just our first session, and just having her to think about the things outside of, yes, I have food, yes, I have a place to stay, I have transportation. What else am I missing? And I was like, well, what about you taking care of yourself? Do you go to the hair salon? Do you take, nail salon? Do you have birthdays? Do you have a pet? All these other expenses that we really don't take into consideration, and that every dollar that we have doesn't have to be an expense. We can put ourselves on that list. We should have ourselves on that list as our savings, taking, those things of that nature, where every dollar has a name and it's to go somewhere. And what does our future look like? Where do we want to be in the next 5, 10 years, or whatever short term or long term is for you? That time frame is based on you and your decision. Where do you want to be? And let's talk about how you can get to that next level. That's the coaching part of it, looking at who you are, and not necessarily what you do, but how it's affecting you. Because people are fearful when it comes to finances. They really
oh,
can be fearful about either not spending enough, like I don't have enough money, or I don't want to spend it all because I don't know what's going to happen, where they feel like, you are in control of that money, and that fear can paralyze you one extreme or the other. And anyone's good, it's not good. It's what is it, the love of money but it's the love of money. It's not money is not evil, it's the love of money. And we can,
Exactly.
we need to be aware of that.
Mhm. Absolutely. So you've brought together some interesting things in terms of the coaching, the helping people to, you know, get into more of the personal development space, the finances. I mean, that's all really amazing. And I know you did a lovely presentation recently too, about the whole emotional component behind this, which you were kind of alluding to right now. So I mean, how big of an issue is emotional stuff for people right now?
Oh, right now, right now in this time, so much, so much. So I worked a lot in the federal space, and right now, it is emotions are all over the place. Topsy turvy with federal employees and those who are connected with that, where there's a lot of anxiety, there's uncertainty. Um, I equate it to the the stages of grief,
Mm,
where when things first started happening, it's like this didn't happen. Like this is not this is not really happening. That denial stage,
right,
and the
right.
mourning stage, and then people are starting to come to reality and come to an acceptance stage, but it's still like, I can't believe that I'm doing this or this is going on within my workspace. How secure do I feel? How safe do I feel
Mm,
in this space? Should I stay? Should I go? It's still uncertainty, but it's not that paralyzing grip that was initially put in place at the beginning. And then the ripple effects that are coming with that. So out in the larger picture of the world, at least within the United States, I would say there's a lot of uncertainty about which direction we should go. I even had that myself initially because I know how things are supposed to go, and they were not going in that order. And when change happens, people get
mm,
fearful. You know,
mm.
people anxiety can raise because there's that uncertainty about change, whether we know that the change might be good or um, not not as well. We still have that anxiety and uncertainty at times.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, and I know you are a faith-based person, as am I, and that's what I keep trying to help people understand is if we can get more connected here and understand, what our creator has for us to do and stop being focused on things we have no control over, that kind of helps to bring down the anxiety levels a bit too, I think. So,
Yes, yes, it definitely does. It definitely does. And so, one thing we have to remember that God is in control. He is
yes.
always in control, even when we are not thinking that things are going. It's not our plan; it's His plan, it's His will, and we have to go. Even when it's not the way we want it to go, it's still His will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All in divine order, even though we may not understand it immediately.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Well, you mentioned working with younger people. So is that something you do on a regular basis? Because that's one of the arenas that I'm very concerned about is what's happening to our youth these days.
I don't do it on a regular basis as much as I used to. So I used to be very involved in my son's Boy Scouts. And so I was there with them, watching young men go through the program and learning and developing those life skills that at the time they didn't, they're young men, they're
Yes.
boys, and they're like, why are we doing this? What? But as they get older, they see, I saw my son grow in that program and find his way. And then I have older sons who didn't complete the program and go back and look at the skills that they picked up, but also it was like, wow, I really, could have done this. Or I remember doing this and now it's impacting me like this. And, you know, just just so much. So in young ladies as well, I see them doing things and um, watching just some of my children, their friends grow up and doing some amazing things, and now their children coming up. And so I try to share knowledge. I try to share history with my family. One of the things that I did for my children is I put together, it's kind of like a memory book, and what it was is pictures of them and family members. Some of them they, knew directly. Some of them they didn't know but have heard about, and as well as copies of um, the programs from their homegoing services, because in those programs it has the life history of each person. And
Right.
and then I also left space for them to continue and add to it. So I gave one to each of my children, and that's continuing that legacy. So when I do work with children, I do try to help them to understand that what's going on right now will impact them later, and
Mm-hmm.
how they need to be aware of what's going on. I had told, I said, I was like, you watch the news or read the newspaper. And my oldest son was like, Mom, they don't do that anymore. Like they do everything on their phone. And so I was like, well, I said, well,
Yep.
I said they can look at those apps and news things that feeds that pop up, just to be aware. Don't think just because something's going on now doesn't mean that it won't affect them later. So when I am talking with children, I do there's nothing new under the sun, and that there is this cycle, but we have to be aware and knowledgeable of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely helps. Well, I'm curious. I mean, you're doing so much good stuff. Do you have any big plans, a big vision that the creator has kind of seeded with you for the future?
Well, yes. So, in addition to my business, each of my children have their own type of business. And so, my vision is that we have it under one umbrella to
Nice.
continue that legacy that can move forward with, each business being under it. And that's what I'm working towards, and including each other in each other's businesses. So, my daughter and my middle son, my oldest daughter, my middle son are educators. One of my daughters works in accounting. Another son is into information technology and an electrician. So just bringing all those together when we can to create something great and to pass on to my grandchildren and great grandchildren and beyond.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Good for you. My husband and I really tried to get our boys in the direction of something more entrepreneurial, and they both have dabbled a little bit, but now they're pretty entrenched in the corporate structure right now. So good for you. That would be such a cool family legacy to be able to carry on with.
Yes, yes, I am. They do have regular jobs now. Don't get me wrong; they do have regular jobs, but in addition to that, that's where their passions lie, and I'm just again just helping them to move forward as well as they help me a lot as well.
Oh, that's so good. So good. Amazing. Well, I would love for you to share with everybody, how can people reach out to you if they think there might be an opportunity for collaboration, or maybe they just would love to be able to take advantage of the services of you or one of your family businesses?
Oh, sure. So they can reach out to me. And at my email address is Royalty Business Group. That's the name of my business, Royalty Business Group dot 202 at gmail.com. That's the best
Yes.
way to reach out to me. Or you can connect with me on LinkedIn at Sharon Harrell. or you can find me on social media as well. Visit my website, royaltybusinessgroup.com, and learn more about me. And my business, Royalty, I took that from First Peter, second chapter, verse 9, where it says that we are chosen people, a royal priesthood. And so that's what I believe. We are a chosen people and we are royalty. So, yes, please, I love to collaborate with people. I love collaborating with you on this event as well as others that we have done in the past. I look forward to future collaborations with you in various spaces and others. I love to connect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here today. Do you have any final wonderful words of wisdom that you'd like to leave people with today?
Sure, I would say when it comes to moving in your space of passion, sit down and think about what that means for you. And don't be afraid to step out there and do the things that you're going to do or want to do or felt led to do. It may not be, it's not going to be easy. Um, Getting past fear is never easy, but it's a learning process. The learning is through the journey. And
Yes.
that's what I love, to go through the journey, because that's where you learn so much about yourself and the resilience you have as well as others.
Absolutely. Those are beautiful words to leave with. So, thank you so much, Sharon. It's been a pleasure. And thank you to all of our awesome change makers out here. We continue to grow this group. Invite other people to the group if you see the value here that we're building, because we want to be able to have localized groups all over the country eventually of people who are working together to create the solutions so that we can live on the planet that we know in our hearts is possible. So thank you all. We'll see you again in the next interview. And thank you again, Sharon.
All right. Thank you.